One of the major struggles that I had in dating was knowing how to be vulnerable. Vulnerability did not come naturally to me. Why? Because in my culture, I'm Vietnamese, vulnerability was not considered strength. It was actually considered weakness. It exposed you, made you available for people's judgments, criticism. Now we're finding out more and more through the work of Brené Brown, The Power of Vulnerability, that vulnerability is courageous. It is something that is needed to develop intimacy and connection with another person. But just because we hear that vulnerability creates connections, it also is hard to understand what behaviors demonstrate vulnerability. And that's what I'm going to talk to you about today. If you found this video helpful, hit the like button and hit the subscribe button for more videos on how to take charge of your love life. Before we start, I want you to know vulnerability is something you practice. It's not something you're going to learn overnight. It took me a while to learn how to be vulnerable. And you can do this with the people around you if you want to start practicing, your friends, and as you shift and you become more vulnerable, you might scare some people away, but that's okay because you are trying to be more genuine, authentic, and think of it as a filtering system, whether this person belongs in your inner circle or not, right? So be careful who you're vulnerable with. Pick somebody that you know that is probably going to be emotionally safe, somebody that's non-judgmental to start with, to start showing up and sharing your true self. Now, here are the behaviors that actually show that you're being vulnerable. So let's get started. One of the first behaviors is somebody that can actually admit to their mistake and take accountability. Being vulnerable is saying, hey, I'm so sorry I hurt your feelings, and tell me, what can I do to correct my behavior if I did something I didn't even know? And then listening to the other person and listening to understand rather than defend. And then actually creating a new behavior and saying, well, I'm going to change my actions so that I don't hurt your feelings anymore. That truly demonstrates that you're being vulnerable, you're taking accountability for your actions that may have hurt somebody else intentionally or unintentionally. Another behavior that's so important, I believe, when you're dating, this is a quality you want to look for in a partner, is somebody that's able to ask for help. Meaning if they're going through a challenge and they're having a difficult time, they don't isolate and just try to manage everything on their own. Now, some people tend to react this way because of past trauma. Maybe they can't rely on other people, so they begin to isolate and be hyper independent. When someone is willing to ask for help, they're willing to take feedback. They're willing to take constructive criticism. This is a great quality. It actually shows that the person has a growth mindset and they're willing to self-reflect and work on themselves. Whether it's a friend, a helping professional, or your partner, the goal here is to be able to share your biggest fears, your challenges, and let the other person in so that they know what's going on and they can help support and bring you up. And at the same time, you would do the same thing for them. And the third behavior that shows vulnerability is someone that's able to express their emotions and feelings, even when it's really difficult. And let me give you an example. Back in the day, I had a few ex-boyfriends that had cheated on me, and I had really bad trust issues when it came to relationships and dating. And so when I was first dating my husband, I revealed to him after several dates, I was like, listen, I've been cheated on and I struggle with trust. And so there are going to be moments in the early stages of our dating that I'm going to get a little jealous, and I know that's not okay, and I'm working on it. And I revealed to him, listen, when he did a behavior that made me uncomfortable, I said to him, I go, listen, that makes me feel insecure about our relationship. Do you think you can change your behavior in this area and do this action instead? And I know I'm asking a lot. You don't have to do it. And you know what he did? He did change his behavior because he realized it hurt me. And he realized that I had events that led up to the point where I had trust issues. Now, that created a bond between us, that created trust between us. And eventually, I started trusting him in our relationship, and I no longer had that fear. So, in those moments when you're trying to build a connection with someone, know that vulnerability can act as a filtering system. When you share this information and somebody can meet your needs, they're showing you that they want to stay in your life, that they want a connection with you, and you would do the same for them. And the beautiful part about that whole story was I was teaching him how to treat me, and that's our responsibility to do that. So express your feelings and emotions is a powerful way to connect and create a trusting bond with each other. The fourth behavior is the ability to receive. Listen, I used to struggle with this, receiving a gift, receiving a compliment. No, I used to be the one that gave the compliments and gave the gifts, and that made me feel wonderful. But when it was time for me to get something in return, did I cringe, right? So if you're struggling with this, then you may be struggling with vulnerability. So here's what happened. I shared this with my coach. She asked me, how does it feel to give to someone else? And I said, it makes me feel amazing. It makes me feel wonderful. And she said, well, what if you're robbing somebody of the same joy and not giving them the opportunity to feel amazing because you're not receiving their gift? That was the truth bomb, right? All of a sudden I was like, whoa, I need to start receiving, because this creates a mutual investment in a relationship and mutual efforts. So the truth here is that when you receive a compliment or a gift from someone else, you might be actually brightening their day. And the fifth and final behavior that shows that you're capable of vulnerability is when you're able to set boundaries. All of us have limits. We have what's okay, what's not okay with us, and we can't expect the person across from us to read our minds. So in order for them to know how to make us happy, we need to express those limits. So maybe you have a boundary on how quickly things progress in a relationship. You're just dating someone new and they are trying to press to a commitment. They're trying to move you forward and you're not ready yet. You think about the relationship and you're like, I don't know this person enough, and it kind of causes me anxiety. It is your time at that point to say, hey, I'm not comfortable with the speed that this relationship is going at. I'd like to take things slow. And then be specific about, what does slow look like? Does that mean you only talk once a day on the phone and then see each other once a week, or maybe twice a week? What does good look like for you? And express it to the person across from you. The goal is to see if this person will respect your boundary. Now you know what behavior to look out for when it comes to vulnerability. And you know that practicing them can actually help you become better and better every single day at it. If I can do it, you can do it. And if you find yourself still struggling with vulnerability, please know you're not alone. I'm here to help. Go to amythedatingcoach.com. I have private coaching and programs to help you on your journey to finding love. Thank you so much for joining, and I'll see you in the next video.